Namaste. Astrology using the wisdom of the stars in your everyday life. Explore the origins of star law. Understand the key principles and discover how to apply astrology to every area of your life. Astrology demonstrates how millennia-old techniques can offer a complete system for self-understanding and self-enrichment, as valid today as it's ever been. Using your birth chart as a starting point, learn how to interpret the zodiac signs, planets, and astrological houses to better understand yourself. With practical advice and case studies, discover how to nurture your relationships, cope with life's uncertainties, release your imagination, and much more. Make the most of all life's challenges and opportunities with astrology. It's really lovely laid out, this book. Lots of different coloured usings, so it's very fab for the visual learner, and the way it's laid out as well in its organisation. Contents. The story of astrology. What is astrology? Astrology through the ages. Astrology today. Astrology and psychology. The astrological mindset. It's more than just your sign. The zodiac signs. An overview. Polarity, elements, modes. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. The planets, an overview. The Sun, identity and life purpose. The Moon, instinct and protection. Mercury, communication and learning. Venus, love and pleasure. Mars, assertion and action. Jupiter, growth and opportunity. Saturn, authority and maturity. Uranus, change and liberation. Neptune, imagination and transcendence. Pluto, power and transformation. Chiron, healing and compassion. The houses, an overview. First house, self and personality. Second house, possessions, money and finance. Third house, communication. Fourth house, home and family. Fifth house, creativity and children. Sixth house, health and well-being. Seventh house, relationships. Eighth house, intimacy and shared possessions. Ninth house, quest and adventure. 10th house, career and vocation. 11th house, friendship and community. 12th house, service and sacrifice. Your birth chart, an overview. The ascendant, descendant. The MC, IC. The moon's nodes. The wheel of rulership. The aspects. Aspections. Casting a birth chart. Reading the whole birth chart. Case study 1, Amanda. Case study 2, Jack. Understanding yourself, an overview. Identity, change, uncertainty, troubled times, habit, health and well-being. Leisure, personal projects, relationships, relatives, friendship, romance and sex, marriage, professional, career, money, motivation, beliefs. Life's events, an overview. Meeting new people, planning celebrations, taking a risk, key moments in relationships, starting a family, parenting decisions, competing, handling disagreements, fights and tension, separation, should I stay or go? Saying sorry, changing careers, relocating, taking time off, finances, health issues, facing retirement, bereavement. Resources, glossary, index, acknowledgements. Forward. The personal horoscope encompasses every conceivable area of life, from birth to death, and all stages in between. It reveals your motivations and needs, what drives you to do what you do, go where you go, and seek what you seek. Forward. An inward art. For many centuries, astrology held an honoured position as a source of wisdom, self-knowledge, and connection to a magical world beyond or behind the mundane and material sphere of life. Astrology was first formed in ancient societies in which humankind viewed itself as intrinsic to the living whole, not detached observers, but participants in the drama of the skies. Over the centuries, it has been part of the great flow of thought that constitutes the Western esoteric or mystery tradition. Alongside alchemy, Kabbalah, and magic, it is the product of a philosophy that places us inside an ensouled cosmos in which everything is interconnected and everything has meaning. As such, it stands in contrast to the contemporary view that we are isolated within the universe and that life is a biological accident. It's a heavy book. With no inherent meaning or purpose, the birth chart is thus both your individual map, showing personal character and calling, as well as reflecting something bigger, your unique place in the ever-turning wheel. Esoteric simply means inner or hidden. So astrology is essentially an inward art that places the focus on interior experience and the exploration of the hidden patterns that underline each human life, and indeed life itself. From this place of self-knowledge, we can begin to understand better the world around us, our relationships with other people, and the experiences we encounter. The personal horoscope encompasses every conceivable area of life, from birth to death, and all stages in between. It reveals your motivations and needs, what drives you to do what you do, go where you go, and seek what you seek. It describes both the literal and the psychological and gathers up past, present, and future into one integrated model. In short, we might say that your chart is a map of your soul's intent, and how you manifest this is the world in the world through being the person that you are. At the same time, astrology is also a very practical form of knowledge. It opens up psychological awareness, shows you the talents and skills at your disposal, and shows how you might become the best version of yourself. But it also allows you to devise helpful strategies and ways forwards in times of crisis, difficulty, and doubt. In this book, you will find all these layers, a guide to the richness and depth of your own inner world, as well as a practical guide to life. And that's from Caroline Taylor. I was just going to see how long the overviews were. If the overviews are pretty short, it might be worth doing. Yeah, they're pretty short. So there's one. I don't think this one had it. So I do what is astrology? An ancient practice for modern times. The birth chart is a holistic image of you. Its symbols describe both inner and outer circumstances and all levels of your personal history and experience. Astrology can be defined as the practice of reading the movements and patterns of the planets and other celestial bodies and correlating them with life on Earth. It rests on a view of the cosmos as holistic and interconnected. Astrology past and present. Many people today view astrology as archaic and irrelevant, belonging to a bygone era. Yet the practice of astrology has persisted and, indeed, has found new relevance in the 20th and 21st centuries. In the heart of the scientific age, there is perhaps more than ever a need for an alternative view that addresses our human desire for meaning and spiritual connection. The kind of astrology practiced today, based on the concept of the birth chart or horoscope, has its roots in the ancient world of Babylon and Greece. To the Babylonians, we can credit the invention of the zodiac and the practice of attributing meaning to the movements of the planets as conveyors of divine will. These ideas were subsequently taken up by the Greeks after the conquest of Alexander in the 4th century BCE, and, shaped by Greek cosmology and beliefs, they eventually gave rise to the horoscope we are familiar with today. What is a horoscope? A horoscope is a stylized picture of the heavens drawn for a particular time and place. It is a geocentric or Earth-centered model, a view of the sky that puts the observer in the center of the wheel with the heavens arranged around them, above and below the horizon. It is thus a person-centered view of the cosmos that acknowledges a meaningful link between the two. In this picture will be found the 12 signs of the zodiac as the bounding wheel of the horoscope, plus at least the sun, moon, and the planets from Mercury out to Saturn, and often Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto too, plus any other celestial bodies that the astrologer drawing the chart would like to include, arranged around the wheel according to their position in the sky. The word horoscope, meaning watcher of the hour, originally referred to a very particular point in the birth chart, the rising sign. That is the zodiac sign that is rising on the eastern horizon at the time of birth. Later, the word came to signify the whole birth chart, and this is the meaning sun-time. It still has today. A horoscope can also be called a birth chart or natal chart. What your horoscope tells you. The birth chart is a holistic image of you. Its symbols describe both inner and outer circumstances and all levels of your personal history and experience, from the physical to the psychological. Everything you are and do is somehow contained within its dynamic picture. Your chart is thus a reflection of your unique character. It acknowledges and validates your deepest feelings, concerns, and desires, showing what is meaningful to you and how you can find ways to shine. And then we're going to do an overview of the zodiac signs. The Wheel of Life. The zodiac is astrology's most ancient and enduring idea, divided into 12 zodiac signs. It forms the bounding wheel of the birth chart, reflecting the seasonal year through its compendium of mythic images. The Circle of Life. We can view the zodiac as a cycle of development, one full circuit of the sun, from the start of the year at the spring equinox, when the sun enters the energetic and initiatory sign of Aries, to the completion of the journey in Pisces, whose nature is to dissolve and disperse. Each sign is unique and builds on the story that precedes it to create a complete cycle of experience. The signs in your chart. A planet represents a particular human drive. For instance, the moon is our basic need for food and safety. Mercury is our drive to communicate, and so on. By contrast, a sign represents a particular style of expression for something in the chart. It thus determines the way in which your planets and other chart factors express themselves according to which signs they occupy. Most of us know our sun sign, the zodiac sign occupied by the sun on the day you were born, and can instinctively connect to its character and story. As we will see when we look more closely at the sun, this sign will form the core of your life experience, a set of qualities and talents that you are in the process of developing. Your sun sign symbolizes your most essential creative gift, showing where you fit within the zodiac's magical circle. However, bear in mind that all your other planets occupy a zodiac sign too. The zodiac is also the bounding rim of your birth chart, and every chart contains all 12 signs. Each sign will therefore have its influence, however small, somewhere in your life. Your sun sign symbolizes your most essential creative gift, showing where you fit within the zodiac's magic circle. So we're in Virgo season, so I'm going to start with Virgo. We've got like 3 planets in Virgo in our house 1 and house 2, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, I do believe, and then Lilith and part Fortune. And our rising sign is Leo, but it's Leo Virgo cusp because it's 29 degrees Leo. So August the 23rd to September the 22nd is the Virgin Virgo. July the 23rd to August the 22nd is Leo the Lion. Looks like we're going backwards too, anti-clockwise. No, clockwise that is, isn't it? June the 22nd to July the 22nd is the Crab Cancer. May the 22nd to June the 21st is the Twins Gemini, and that's what the moon is in at the moment. It moves into Cancer tomorrow morning. April the 21st, May the 21st, the Bull Taurus. March the 21st to April the 20th, the Ram, Aries. Pisces, the Fishes, February the 19th to March the 20th. January the 20th to February the 18th, the Water Bearer, Aquarius. But it's actually an air sign, not a water sign. December the 22nd to January the 19th, the Goat, Capricorn. This is a mermaid goat. Look at that. Oh, I've not seen a mermaid goat. November the 22nd to December the 21st, the Archer, Sagittarius. October the 23rd to November the 21st, the Scorpion, Scorpio. September the 23rd, October the 22nd, the Scales, Libra. And that's all 12. So we're just going to do the overview quickly of each sign. So the planets, an overview. Assessing balance in your chart. The planets can be thought of as the actors in a chart. Psychologically, they are archetypal drives, each representing a universal principle that exists within you and also in the world around you. The dynamic relationships between the planets in your chart form at the heart of your personality. Shine, nurture, communicate, relate, assert. The planets in your chart. In your birth chart, each planet represents a basic drive within you, and each can have an array of potential expressions, all flowing from a central idea. Venus, for instance, represents the force of beauty, cohesion, and cooperation in the cosmos. From this, we get the idea of its astrological role as a signifier of our capacity to relate and find common ground with others, the notion of romantic love, and our aesthetic and artistic potentials. Each person's chart contains all the planets, but from chart to chart, the planets will occupy different zodiac signs and different houses, and they will bear different relationships to each other around the wheel of the chart. In other words, different aspects. Thus, and that's the circle in the middle that has all the different patterns, like the red and the blue, and it makes the squares and the trines. Lots of triangles normally and funny lines. Thus, each chart offers its own completely unique picture, with the planets expressing themselves according to that individual's own particular pattern. Planetary protocol. It's just got a really good thing at the top here, where you've got the sun, and then you've got all the planets going along. So the first one, you've got like, you can't see it, and MVMJ so I know them. Let's see. So you've got the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter. Yeah, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. No, but we went wrong there. Saturn, oh, it had Chiron. Yeah, because Chiron's not in that MVMJ. So it goes Saturn, Chiron, Jupiter. Yeah, we lost the thingy now. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Interesting. So planetary protocol. Astrology divides the planets into three main groupings according to their distance from the sun. The Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, and Mars are the personal planets, representing the most personal of the planetary drives and the core of our character. Astrology refers to the Sun and Moon as planets, too, for brevity. The Sun and Moon are also called the luminaires, with the Sun as ruler of the daytime world and the Moon as ruler of the night sky. These two bodies play the most central role in a chart. Jupiter and Saturn are the social planets, so called because they represent the process of socialization and adjustment within our context of family and society. Jupiter, as the principle of expansion, connects us to the world at large via education, travel, philosophy, and religious beliefs. Saturn, as the principle of contraction, calls on us to adjust to the rules and regulations that are an inevitable part of human life. Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto are the collective, transpersonal, or generational planets. This is because they have very slow orbits and spend a much greater length of time in one zodiac sign. The zodiac sign they occupy tends to describe the collective political and social ideas and preoccupations are prevalent during that particular era. Chiron is a maverick and does not fit neatly into the scheme, orbiting mostly between Saturn and Uranus, so it symbolises, unites personal, social, collective, and astral themes. The sun, the central core of our being. The moon, our instinctual responses and nurturing principle. Mercury, how we think, learn, and communicate. Venus, the principle of pleasure and relating. Mars, how we assert ourselves and direct our energy. Jupiter, the principle of expansion, faith, and optimism. Saturn, the principle of contraction, structure, and boundaries. Chiron, the wounded healer. So the personal planets were the ones that I read out up to Mars. The social planets are Jupiter and Saturn. Bridging social and collective is Chiron. And then you've got the collective planets, Uranus, the force of enlightenment and sudden change. Neptune, our ideal vision and what inspires us to devotion. And Pluto, the force that brings about transformation. And they're just on the bottom there. For the houses. The 12 houses. The 12 houses reveal which areas of life are most important to you. Each house describes a focus of experience, such as your relationships or career. Each planet will occupy one of the houses, and any given house can contain more than one planet. Here's how to locate and interpret the houses in your chart. The houses are like territories. They are dimensions of the psyche, but also places and areas of everyday experience. How they work. The ascendant, descendant, MC, and IC form the four angles of the birth chart. So you've got your red and your orange, and then your yellow and your purple going horizontally and vertically. And that's your DC. Red was DC on the right, AC is the orange, MC is the purple at the top, and IC was the yellow going down to the bottom. So if you're looking at a clock, MC is at 12 o'clock, DC is 3 o'clock, IC is 6 o'clock, and AC is 9 o'clock. The ascendant, descendant, MC, and IC form the four angles of the birth chart. These move against the backdrop of the heavens, one turn of the wheel as the Earth rotates each day. The planets move very little over that time, but the angles and house cusps move like the hands of a clock, creating a unique picture for your chart. Apart from the moon, the planets for two people born on the same day will probably share the same zodiacal positions. However, unless they were born at precisely the same time and in the same place, the house positions can differ considerably. Interpreting the houses. When we can approach the interpretation of a planet in a house in two ways, from the perspective of the house and from the perspective of the planet. From the perspective of the house, you'll experience this area of life through the lens of the planets that occupy it. For example, with Mercury in the first house, to feel confident about making your way in the world first. It will be crucial to develop your communication skills, Mercury. From the perspective of the planet, on the other hand, the house it occupies shows which area of life to focus on in order to develop that planet's characteristics. For example, with Mars in the second house, an important testing ground for developing your competitive edge, Mars, might be to engage with your finances, second house. We'd prefer it if they just did the same example and house, so you could see the two different interpretations, but oh well. Untenanted houses. Although the houses that contain the most planets are areas of key importance, most charts will have a few empty houses. This doesn't mean that these areas of life are meaningless or unavailable. For example, an empty second house doesn't mean an empty bank account. It simply suggests that your attention is more naturally focused elsewhere. So then we've got the key up there, which is house cusp, circle of birth chart, ascendant. Yes, that's more if you're looking at it. So your descendant is the place where the zodiac cuts the horizon in the west, exactly opposite the ascendant. It is symbolic of the setting sun. Bottom of the heavens, or IC, Carole. Cusp of the third house. Houses in a birth chart. The ascendant, which is also the cusp of the first house, is placed at 9 o'clock, with the other houses radiating around the chart in a counterclockwise direction. Ascendant, the place where the zodiac cuts the horizon in the east. It is symbolic of the dawn and the moment of birth. Middle of the heavens, or MC, medium Carole. First house, birth, self-identity, new beginnings, birth, self-identity. Second, resources, possessions and money. Third, communication, siblings and learning. Fourth, home, family and origins. Fifth, creativity, romance and children. Sixth, routines, health and everyday life. Seventh, relationships, partnerships, marriage. Eighth, transformation, intimacy, shared possessions. Ninth, adventure, travel, higher education. 10th, achievement, career, reputation. 11th, friendships, communities, social life. 12th, service, self-sacrifice and seclusion. Your birth chart. An overview, seeing the whole picture. Your birth chart is a never-to-be repeated arrangement of planets, signs, angles, houses, and aspects. Most importantly, your own free will and the many possible interpretations of the symbols means your life path is an expression of you as an individual spirit. You are unique. A birth chart is a view of the heavens for a precise time, date, and location. At any given moment, each planet occupies a particular place in the zodiac, and these placements by degree and minute of the sign. Pardon? Yeah. Yeah. Can you just leave? Yeah, just, yeah. Thank you. Bye. By degree and minute of the sign are exactly the same for anyone or anything born at that moment anywhere on Earth. But if we take the charts of two people born at the same time and date but in different locations, the angles and the house cusps would be different in each chart. Each would offer a different version of that same arrangement of planets in the sky. Move forward in time and the picture changes again. The planets move on, and so do the angles and house cusps. In other words, your chart is singular and shared by no one else. In the charts of twins, even a difference of a few minutes in the birth time can mean a planet changes house or the angles move into the next zodiac. So there's an empty chart there. What your birth chart says about you. A birth chart offers a great deal of information. It reveals character and temperament, motivations and desires, potential skills and talents. It looks back into the past in suggesting the ancestral themes that have made their impact on you, and forward into the future in suggesting what you might strive to create and achieve for yourself. Interpreting symbols. Each symbol in the chart has many different meanings, operating at all different levels of life experience. Whenever you identify something in your chart that seems to pose an issue or that you feel negative about, it can be instructive to switch your perspective and play with the symbolism. For instance, Saturn can evoke fear, but is also an invitation to focus and professionalize. Neptune can indicate loss of structure, but equally a release of imagination. The moon can carry difficult emotional memories, but also shows how we might offer ourselves supportive self-care. Keep an open mind. Try to be flexible and imaginative in your thinking around any chart, including your own. While being honest about the challenges, take time to honour the talents and skills that are present or that could be developed. Aim to articulate what you see in a way that is open and exploratory. Each chart offers a sense of a life unfolding, so there is never a final word on anything, only more potentials to explore. AC, ascendant, where the zodiac intersects with the horizon in the east, it symbolises birth and new beginnings. Houses, the 12 sections of the chart, each representing a particular territory or area of life experience. So I'm just reading this bit, these bits going all the way round now. I see, where the zodiac intersects with the meridian below the horizon, it symbolises home, roots and family. Birth chart basics. Here we can see the symbols, angles, houses and aspects to look out for in your own chart. Descendant, where the zodiac intersects with the horizon in the west. Exactly opposite the ascendant, it symbolises relationships. Nodes, where the paths of the sun and moon cross in space, symbolises fated meetings and experiences and the balancing of the past and future. Zodiac signs. Each planet and point in the chart occupies one of the zodiac signs. So for instance, that's in your collective consciousness, or an empty chart like this has not been done for someone, that's the first house, second house, third house, fourth house, and that's Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, etc., going around acting clockwise. MC, where the zodiac intersects with the meridian above the horizon. It symbolises career and achievement. Planets. Astrology recognises 10 planets, including the Sun and Moon, and Pluto. Chiron can also be included. Each represents a particular human drive. Aspects. Angular relationships between planets and other points in the chart. They create the chart's inner dynamics. So that's the big red triangle in the middle, which is the aspect pattern, chart patterns. And that's a grand trine, a triangle. Understanding yourself. Chapter 6, an overview, unlocking your birth chart. Astrology can shed light on all aspects of life, from the most ordinary of matters to those that hold the most profound significance and shape the course of our lives. It can be used as a helpful guide whenever we need one. Being yourself. There is no one quite like you. Astrology validates this and suggests what is important to you as an individual. Life is rarely simple, and we are continually called upon to adjust and adapt to fit within the families, groups, and communities we belong to. In the midst of this, your birth chart is a reminder of your inner picture of character and calling, with the power to bring you back home to yourself. It is also a reminder that personal psychology plays its part in co-creating the situations in which we find ourselves. It is easy to feel trapped by circumstances, believing that nothing will change and we will never achieve our desires. Astrology offers an alternative view, suggesting that self-knowledge can be your most powerful secret weapon in the business of mapping out your path, achieving your goals, living authentically, and finding your own version of happiness and fulfillment. Symbolic information. Astrology is based on symbols, and so it stands to reason that a birth chart only provides symbolic information. It offers clues and ideas, and stories to follow, themes to explore. Symbols might suggest that there is no fixed fate at work in our lives, no set destiny with only one possible outcome. Each symbol in a chart has many different layers and ways of being expressed, and each unfolds its story as life is lived. As we have seen throughout this book, although each symbol must be interpreted in its own terms, Venus things are not Mars things, Sagittarius is not Capricorn. Each offers us a wealth of different options. If nothing else, symbols suggest we have choice. With your own birth chart, then the key might be to work at understanding its patterns on a deeper level, seeing how it reflects your circumstances and the choices you might have made, and what might motivate you in making the choices yet to come. Exploring life areas in your chart. Each of us has our own very individual needs and style when it comes to anything in life. The following pages offer a roadmap for exploring each territory, rather than comprehensive information on how you would personally approach each one. For example, for each topic, the most relevant chart factors are listed. You will then need to flex your imagination to apply the ideas to your own chart. Your birth chart is a reminder of your inner picture of character and calling, with the power to bring you back home to yourself. And then you have the signs, which are at degrees and then minutes. So the first number is the degrees, and then the second number is the minutes. And I think it only goes up to 30 degrees, but the minutes go up to 60 because it's an hour. Chapter 7, Astrology and Life Events, an overview. Forecasting with astrology. Important to an understanding of life events is an appreciation that no chart is ever still. The planets continue to orbit around, producing transits over your planets, angles, and houses that reflect the energy of any given moment. Planetary transits. Transits are astrology's key forecasting tool. They reflect the current situation, but also the past and what the future might hold. The word means crossing, a planet moving across something in your chart. You can follow the planets as they move on from their birth positions. They cross angles, enter and leave houses, and form aspects to the planets and other chart factors, creating a constantly moving dynamic picture. At any given time, your transits will, I think we're reading the Secret Language of Your Body book next, and I think I'm going to read the nose because my nose always itches, and there's a couple of people I see on thingy and they always get the nose thing. At any given time, your transits will highlight certain areas of your chart. Each reflects how you feel at that time, the deeper meaning of the events that arise, and what response might be appropriate and fruitful. A planet can transit in conjunction or in square, opposition, trine, or any other type of aspect, each of which brings its own particular quality of experience. Checking your own transits. You can check current planetary positions in an ephemeris. For instance, if your sun is at 27 degrees Aries, check to see what transiting planets are within close range, 1 to 2 degree orb of this. You can either invest in a paper ephemeris or use one of the many free online versions. Try astro.com. The planets from Mercury outwards all go retrograde at some point in their cycle. This means that by transit, they can pass 3 or even 5 times over a point in your birth chart. Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus. Transits take at least 1 year from first to last hit. They bring the most profound events and changes. Jupiter, Saturn, and Chiron transits can also have deep impact, but are shorter, up to a year for Chiron if it is retrogrades, less for Jupiter or Saturn. A 1-hit Jupiter transit lasts a week or so, but 9 months, and 3 hits if it goes retrograde. Mars, Venus and Mercury take 2 or 3 days for one hit, but with the possibility of 3 hits if they go retrograde. The Sun and Moon never go retrograde. A transit of the Sun lasts a day or so, the Moon a few hours. Planetary cycles. As well as transits to your planets or angles, each planet has a cycle in relation to its own place in your chart. For instance, if Saturn comes opposite your natal Saturn, you can see this in context of Saturn's full cycle of whoopsie-daisy. To its own place in your chart. For instance, if Saturn comes opposite your natal Saturn, you can see this in context of Saturn's full cycle of 30 years. Astrology sees it all as one integrated experience. Astrologers refer to the midlife transits. Pluto square Pluto, late 30s or early 40s, Uranus opposite Uranus, and Neptune square Neptune, 41 to 42, and the Chiron return, 50. We are never quite the same after midlife. Fate and free will. Astrology suggests we have choices, no matter how fated or beyond our control a situation may seem. It suggests we can alter our reality through a change of perspective, using imagination to revision our approach. We can apply the same attitude to forecasting as to the natal chart. Symbols do not tell us precisely what to do. Instead, they open our creative awareness and invite participation as co-creators of our own destiny. Astrology suggests we have choices, no matter how fated or beyond our control a situation may seem. Is that the last one? Yep, that was the last overview. Become what you are. There we go. Great starter's book for astrology. Namaste.